example of how to calculate the index cost of acquisition. So there is one Mr. Robert. He purchased a piece of land in Gurgaon in May 2004 for say 84,000, and he sold it in April 2015 for 10 crores. These kind of things can only happen in Gurgaon, as we know. Brokerage paid by him for the sale is 1 lakh. I don't know which broker had the guts to charge the brokerage from Mr. Robert, but he paid 1 lakh. And now we have to calculate what is the cost of index cost of acquisition. So the cost inflation index, we are talking of sale in 2015, right? So that means financial year 2015-16. As you go back to the earlier slide, the index for that year was 1081. So cost of acquisition 84,000 rupees multiplied by cost inflation index for the year of sale 2015-16 1081 divided by the index for the year of in which he purchased. He purchased in 2004 May, so financial year 2004-5. In that year the index was 480. So Mr. Roberts' cost index cost of acquisition becomes 1,89,175. So to calculate the long-term capital gains, why long-term? Because he's bought in 2004, sold in 2015. Therefore, he has held it for more than 36 months, and therefore the definition of long-term capital asset comes into play. It's a long-term capital asset. Therefore, he gets the benefit of indexation, and therefore the capital gains will be calculated like this: 10 crore sale price less expenditure incurred to effect that sale 1 lakh, so 9 crore 99 lakhs less index cost 1,89,175, giving rise to a net long-term capital gains of 9 crore 97 and whatever 10,825. In principle, this is how we calculate the long-term capital gains. Generally, long-term capital gains are charged to tax at 20% plus the surcharge and education cess. But in certain special cases, the gain may be at the option of the buyer, at the option of the seller. This is important. At your option, you can select to pay tax at 10% instead of 20%. But if you do that, the capital gains has to be calculated without taking into benefit the indexation. So you have an option of paying 20% tax on, take this example. You have an option of paying 20% on this, or you have an option of paying 20% on 9 crore 99 minus the original cost of 84,000. Okay, I'm illustrating this issue with the example of the property. Its option is not available for immovable property, but this is the way it will work if you exercise this option in case of these two assets. Any security which is listed on a recognized stock exchange other than units of mutual fund, so shares, debentures, bonds, etc. If they are listed securities, you have a long-term capital gains. Then you have the option of paying tax at 20% on index gains or 10% on unindexed gains, whichever is more beneficial to you. So there is left to you to select the option. Let's look at an example how this thing works. Mr. Kanaya, a young collegian aged 35 years, purchased 100 equity shares listed of Bharat Mata Limited in December 2005 for 20,000 rupees. The shares are sold in August 15 for 5 lakhs to his mentor, Ms. Charkha Dot, in an off-market deal. What will be his tax liability? Sale consideration in first option, where he takes the benefit of indexation, is 5 lakhs. That remains common whether cost is indexed or unindexed. Index cost of acquisition, so his original cost is 20,000, bought in the year 2005. So for financial year 2005-6, the index was 497. For the financial year 2015-16, 1081. So 20,000 multiplied by 1081 divided by 497 gives you 43,000 and odd. If you do not index, the cost remains at 20,000. So without indexation, 5 lakhs minus 20 is 4 lakh 80. On 4 lakh 80, if you calculate tax at 10%, it comes to 48,000. On the other hand, on index gain of 4 lakh 56, if you calculate tax at 20%, it comes to 91,000. It is anyone's guess what the taxpayer will select. Obviously, he will select this option of not indexing the cost of acquisition and paying tax at 10%. So in extremely simple language, this is the way the option of deciding what you want to do, 10%, 20%, without indexation, with indexation, etc., how it will work. But again, to go back, it is applicable only for listed securities other than units of mutual funds and zero coupon bonds. It is not applicable to house property. It is not applicable to any units of mutual funds, etc. So it is not applicable to jewelry, etc., because they are not listed. This was about long-term capital gains. Let's look at an example of short-term capital gains. So Mr. Kejriwal is a salaried employee working in Permanent Agitations Limited at an annual salary of 4,20,000. In December 15, he purchased 10,000 shares of Nautanki TV Limited at 100 per share and sold the same in April 16 at 125 per share. Brokerage paid 1 rupee per share. The shares were sold through Bombay Stock Exchange and STT. All of you know what is STT, Securities Transaction Tax was paid. What will be the short-term capital gain? Why short-term capital gains? He bought in December 15, sold in April 16, held for less, not more than 12 months. Therefore, it is short-term capital gains. Full value of consideration, he's got 10,000 shares sold at 125, so 12.5 lakhs. He spent 1 rupee per share as brokerage, so 10,000 brokerage. Net sale consideration 12,40,000, and cost of acquisition, he bought at 100 rupees, so cost is 10 lakhs, so 2,40,000 is the short-term capital gains. So this is the way the short-term capital gains would be calculated.